Okay. Hi, boys and girls. Today is Wednesday, March 18th for you, and you're going to be working on Lesson 3 Math. I loved your Flipgrid videos yesterday. Keep them coming, okay? All right, so today for math, you are going to do, as your warm-up, you're going to do Lesson 3, Sprint A and B as your warm-up. I know some of you like to be timed. You don't have to be timed, but it says if you were going to be timed that you would get 4.5 minutes for each one. But I think you guys are faster than that anyway, but you don't have to be timed. Just go ahead and do it. And then we would have done kind of like a counting coins activity again, because you know how we've been working on that in our math game station. So again, if you want to dump out some coins out of a purse or a jar or a piggy bank and count up your quarters and dimes and nickels and pennies, that'll be a good practice review for you also. So you're going to do that in your sprint, and then we're going to get on to the lesson. And for your lesson today, we're going to be continuing to create bar graphs with data. And there is, if you're going to follow along with me right now, which you can just watch this, you don't have to do it with me, but if you want to, and if you have a printer at home, I'm going to link a sheet that is not in your workbook that looks like this, and it'll say Lesson 3 Template 2. And you can use that right now to follow along with me, or you can just watch me so I can show you how to do what we're going to do today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, let me get back to the correct page. Okay. So we're going to create some more charts of the data that we collected. I hope this marker works. I thought I had one ready to go. We're going to create some charts from the data that I had already collected, or that we had collected the other day. So we have this one here. We're going to use our animal classification data. So all along the side here, this is where our categories would go, and then up here is our title. The title of this information is animal classification, so you would write that up here. And usually, if you're not sure what the title should be for your graph, it's usually the title of like the chart where the information is. You can just take it right off the table or the chart where your data is held. And then your categories are going to go along here. So from our chart yesterday, our categories were bird and mammal, and reptile, and fish. Okay, now yesterday we used those tally marks to represent how many were in each group, and then today we're going to color in a box for each one. So the first thing we want to do is fill in the scale. Yesterday they were calling it a legend, but on here, this is our scale. The legend was like each box. I think I'm going to add that down here because I see what they're talking about now. Legend. So each box that is colored in equals one animal. And there's not a place for that on this graph, but I think it's important, so I'm writing it in. The scale is down here, and you can see that we've started with 0. So if you've colored nothing in, you've got 0 animals. And so if you've colored that first box in, this would be 1. So they're starting with 0, and we're going to go ahead and number all along the bottom here, using our whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you're going to color in a whole bar for an animal, that's like saying that you have 12. And then you're just going to color in the data based on the table from yesterday, which I think I've already recycled, but I have a copy in my book. So the bird, there were 4 of those. And there were 8 mammals. So maybe what I might do is dot my boxes first to see how far I'm coloring. I might go 8 mammals. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I can outline it. And maybe if I really wanted to get fancy, I could use different colors, because that would really make this graph easier to visually to look at and see that each one is a different color. It might make it easier to make them stand out. And then we've got reptile. There were 5 of those. So I think I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And color that one in. And finally, fish had 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is sort of what I would call a horizontal bar graph, because it goes to the side. But you can then see, if you want to see how many birds, you would follow that line straight down to there's the 4. So that's kind of how you would read this graph. And then if you'll notice, what if I were to turn it like this, vertically? So the information is all still there, but now instead of being the longest to show the most, it would be the tallest. And that's kind of what we're going to do here for this bottom graph. So the bottom graph, we're going to use the data from yesterday, the animal habitats. So using the table that was animal habitats, it said animal habitats at the top, so I'm going to make that be the title of this graph. Animal habitats. Okay, and those, we only had 3 categories for those. And there's where you would put your 3 categories. This time we're putting the categories at the bottom. Up here we had the categories to the side. So the categories were Arctic, and it's really small, so I'm going to have to write small. A-R, I always forget, Arctic. And then woodland. Might just have to write wood, because I might not have enough room. And then ocean. Okay, now they've already scaled this for us. They've already scaled it so that it starts at 0, and they've numbered it all the way up to 14. So with Arctic, we had 4. So this time we're just coloring vertically. And then with woodland, we had 10. And with ocean, we had 6. Okay, so these are the 2 different types of graphs you're going to create today on your problem set, but you're not done there. You're going to be answering some questions. So, for example, how many more mammals than reptiles are there? Well, mammals, 8, reptiles, 5. So I know that 8 minus 5 is 3, but look what else I can do. I can use my graph to count up, because I can see that there are 3 more boxes colored in on mammal than are colored in on reptile. So I can tell that mammal has 3 more than reptile. So I would say there are 3 more mammals than reptiles, period. And that would make a nice sentence to answer that question. What if we change this graph? How would the graph change if we added 4 more birds to the bird category? So right now we have 4. So we're going to add 4 more, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So now, if we added 4 more birds to the bird category, we'd have exactly the same amount in bird and mammal. So it's going to ask you a lot of questions like that, and then it's going to have you eventually come up with your own questions. So basically, I want you to use the animal classification table over here to create your chart. Now you're going to notice that you have on yours, it looks like it's going to be what we just did, but they've changed the data up. So you're not going to actually do those exact numbers. You'll notice here when you're making this graph that there are 6 birds on this one and 5 fish on this one. So they've changed the data up so that you'll have your answers to your questions will be a little bit different. And then they're going to have you create your own comparison questions again. So, and then the second page. So you're going to do similar to what you did yesterday. Feel free to make this as colorful as you'd like. And then once you've completed all of the pages in Google Classroom, you can take pictures of the completed work if you want and upload it into Google Classroom for me, or you don't have to. You can leave it right here in the workbook, and there's a box to check that shows that you've turned it in. So if you check that box, then I know that you've done the work, okay? All right, well, enjoy your Wednesday, okay? Bye, guys.